Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astrogat Mysore. I am taking up another case study today with regard to the early marriage, which we did saw one case study yesterday. This is case study number 2. I have some more charts to just give you a flow of how to predict, how to go into the charts and do analysis. So let us understand this chart of a female. I have been telling you that I have been teaching classes from past 1.5 years. So people who have already learned from class 1 would have that ease to predict. So it's easier for them to understand how this analysis happens. So I'm just doing the basic level as on date. So I'm just giving you some criteria, factors, and depending on these factors, let us do this. This is a very basic level. I'm not going into the advanced level, which is still there inside this. We have to do that, but not today. Okay. So this female was born on 1981, in the year 1981. So the marriage happened in 2001 when she was only 20 years old. So that's a young age, early marriage. So in this modern world, we consider this as early marriage. And immediately after that, 3 years from there, 2 and 3/4 year from there, she has a birth of a son. That is a childbirth happens. So that looks a little normal because it's having a little bit of spacing. It's not like yesterday's, which it was like 1.5 years from marriage there was a childbirth, though the girl was just 22 years old. So here let us analyze. So what are all the factors which I have given? I have listed down in earlier yesterday's classes. Also, I have given some factors. The seventh and the ascendant are to be influenced, by retrograde planets, 8th house, Saturn, Dasha and transit has to be seen, 12th lord and 12th house has to be seen. So, I need a chalk. Yeah. Okay. So, yes. So, let us see now whether these influences are there on the 7th house and the ascendant or the 7th lord. 7th and ascendant means it is house or lord. Ascendant means the ascendant or the ascendant lord included. Here the ascendant falls in the sign of Leo, Simha Rashi, and the ascendant lord is Sun, which is debilitated. Very clearly, the ascendant lord is debilitated. It is not that strong. The seventh house falls in the sign of Aquarius, and the lord of Aquarius is Saturn, which is posited along with 3 other planets, that is Jupiter, retro Mercury, means make a note of this, retro Mercury, and Moon. So there are 2 fast moving planets along with one more slow moving planet, Jupiter. But Saturn is a slow moving planet. Usually, when the 7th house is of Saturn, that is for either Kark Rashi or Simha Rashi, that is either for Cancer or Leo, the marriage is delayed. There is, the marriage happens in, let's say, after 27, 28, or 29 years of age. But here, the marriage has happened early. So we can see the distance between Saturn and Mercury is not that high. Why? It's not that much. You can see it here. Saturn in the Navamsha is placed in the sign of Cancer, whereas Mercury is placed in the sign of Leo. So that very clearly means that this is Chitta Nakshatra 1, Chitta Nakshatra 2, Chitta Nakshatra 3, Chitta Nakshatra 4. So Chittartha Kanya. So Chitta Nakshatra first pada, Mercury is placed. So then where is Saturn? Saturn should be just behind it. So what is the nakshatra just behind Chitta Nakshatra is Hasta. So Hasta Nakshatra 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is in Hasta 4. This is in Chitta 1. So they are within 3 degrees and 20 minutes in the range. So that means there is a huge influence between the planets. There are mutual influence between the planets. So this is as good as in its own house and retrograde. I will not take it as exaltation because we all know exaltation happens between 0 degrees and 15 degrees in Kanya. So 15 to 20 we take it as Mula Trikona, this is exaltation, and the remaining we take it as one house. So Mercury is in its own house, very well placed Mercury. It has gone to Simha in the Navamsha Kundali, but that Simha is a Vargottama Lagna, that is the ascendant is Simha. It stays there only in the D9 chart, that is Navamsha Kundali. You can see it in the North Indian charts. People were asking me North Indian charts, so from a year or so, but I was not having the time, and I don't know, it's my mistake, my effort. Easy going. And that's why I did not put the charts, but now I am taking the effort to put these charts so that there is space, so I am putting this chart. So you can see Simha, number 5, you can see Simha here. So it is a Vargottama Lagna, that is the Lagna repeats both in D1 and D9, that is Rashi Kundli and the Amsha Kundli. There is no Bhava change, that's why I have not referred to any change of the Bhava. Bhava is same as Rashi because the ascendant is in the middle. So there is not much of a change in Bhava Kundali. So let us now make note of these things now, whether these factors are matching there. The native has a retrograde planetary influence over the 7th Lord. Very clear. Perfect. And also the retrograde planets influence over the ascendant of the D9 chart. So retrograde planets influence on the 7th Lord, that is Mercury, and retrograde planets influence over the ascendant of the D9 chart. That's a very good thing to happen. So it's a very strong chart because that is the second Lord. 11th and the second Lord, it is partially, it's not malefic, it is a benefic, because for Leo, Mercury becomes a benefic, but it's retro, it is a little extreme, eccentric, and sometimes it acts a little impatient. So that is there in this person. I can see, because I know this person, a little impatient with regard to things happening, a little anxiety prone, that's there. And you can see that in the Navamsha Kundali also, because Rahu and Saturn are sitting together. Okay, let us now go to the next criteria. This is cleared in two ways, that is one in the D1 and one in the D9. 8th house. 8th house has to have an influence on the 7th Lord or the ascendant. That's what I have written here. So the 8th Lord is Jupiter. This is the 8th house, and the 8th Lord is Jupiter, and there is an influence of Jupiter over Saturn because Jupiter is a Vargottama. That is, it is sitting in Chitta Nakshatra second pada, C2. So it is only around 6 degrees 40 minutes on an average from Saturn. So there is a very good mutual influence between Saturn and Jupiter. So 8th house, there is an influence. You can see that in both the charts. Because in this chart, the 8th house, 8th Lord itself is Jupiter, and it is sitting in the second house. So that is Kutumbasthana. So this is also Kutumbasthana. Okay. And what about Saturn? Saturn, we don't even have to think about it because it is the 7th Lord getting influenced by Mercury. So this point I will simply have to skip. Then we'll have to go to the Dasha. I am not going into the transit as on date. I am not going into the Shadbala. I am not going into the Bhavabala. I am not going into the Sarvashtaka Varga. I am not going into the Prastarashtaka Varga. Nothing. I'll do that in the future. But now we are only talking about Dasha. So the Dasha what was running at the time of marriage on August 2001 is Rahu Saturn. So Rahu, we all know here that it's in the 12th house. So the criteria of the 12th house is also there. So the 12th house has an influence over the chart at the time of marriage, and with whom is it running? Rahu and Saturn. Rahu and Saturn. Saturn is 7th Lord. So the 12th house and the 7th lord are having mutual strength. The event has to roll. So if you see that here, both are sitting together in the Navamsha in the 12th house, which is also, as I told you, please have to refer to my earlier video, that is yesterday's video, that is video number, class number, I think it is 258. That is once again early marriage case study number 1. It is. I have not put that as number 1, but now number 2 has to be clearly numbered because it will get confused. So this is class number 250. This is class number 259. So this class number 258. Please refer to that. I have given other points also, which will be more easier to understand. But I have referred as to what is the 8th house, what is the 12th house, and how actually it matters in early marriage. So anyway, I'll just refer it. It is Shayana Sukha Sthana. Shayana Sthana. Shayana Sukha Sthana. Shayana Sthana means bed, where we sleep, a cozy environment, where we actually rest, we get rest. So if it is badly posited, where all people have to sleep, poor people, destitutes, they go through such a hardship in life, they sleep on the road and the streets. I'll put those charts also, I'll show you how actually it affects. But in this case, Shayana Sukhasthana, that is whether the person will have good bodily comfort and there is going to be a physical, intimate relationship which gets kindled because of the 12th house. So, the 12th house is strongly posited because of the dasha also, because the dasha is also correlating. So once again the 12th house, I don't have to come once again here because we have already spoken about it. So this is how we need to understand that this is what I have formulated. I have not taken it from anywhere, but this is nothing will come from me. I have nothing, what we call as, it doesn't start from me. I have learned it only. It's copied. Everything what we know has already been there in this world. So there is nothing new that it comes something, people tell that, oh, he did a dhyan and it just came to him. Nothing like that. God bless. I am very humble to say this, that I have learned it from the books. I have learned it from my masters. I have learned it from lot of experience, observation and study of charts, analysis of charts, thousands of charts. So this is the criteria which I feel is very important to understand an early marriage in a person's life. I will also go into charts where early marriage has happened and then the marriage has broken, then there has been a huge gap, and then the marriage will happen once again. 20 years of gap, 15 years of gap, then the marriage will happen and then the person will have a child also from the second marriage. So many things are there. I will go through all these different types of charts which are there. People who have gone through a very tough life for the first 20 years and suddenly they will get into a fantastic job, travel abroad, travel around the world. Charts are there. I'll put one by one so that you will understand the case studies. Through these type of set parameters. Without the parameter, if you simply take up and simply keep talking about anything, then you can prove anything in anywhere. You can take a chart and simply jumble it and tell that, yeah, this is how it is. I don't want to do that. These parameters have to fit in. If the parameters don't fit in, then we are somewhere wrong. Let's be that strict with what we are doing. So the birth of a son has happened in Rahu Dasha and Ketu Bhukti in the chart. So Rahu Dasha, Ketu Bhukti. So that just before that it has started. Rahu Dasha, Ketu Bhukti was just at the time of birth. Before that, the Rahu Dasha, Ketu Bhukti has started only on April 2004. So just before that, Rahu, Mercury, the child has born. So that is the Kutumba Sthana, which has given Kutumba Vruddhi. That is extra member into the family. So welcoming an extra member into the family, that is what is called Kutumba Vruddhi, growth. So this is how the chart is. So thank you very much for today's class. I'll be coming up with 2 more charts, one after the other. so that there will be a continuation and then only I will go into the other subjects. Thank you very much.